And we even use the folklore of West Virginia to bring our Fallout versions to life.
So before I start with the Mothman, I just want to say real quick, I'm first to admit when I'm wrong, that I believe the original time that I said the Mothman was in Fallout 76, that was not actually the Mothman. The Mothman is in Fallout 76, but that footage was actually a scorch beast. Upon doing more research on it, I realized that after Todd Howard confirms that they included West Virginia folklore, that Mothman clip is nowhere to be seen. That Scorch Beast clip happens before Todd Howard confirms the folklore. But the Mothman is actually in the footage. Just, it's not this. This is a Scorch Beast. This right here is the actual Mothman. And let me explain why. So the Mothman is described to be a bipedal, winged humanoid with owl-like traits. Despite his name, which is given to him by the newspapers, he is no way moth-like. His correlation varies from black, gray, to even brown or white, although it is usually the darker shades. He is often reported to be 7 feet tall, with a wingspan of about 10 to 15 feet or more, plus the ability to fly over 100 miles per hour. Sometimes he's described as to not having a head, with 2 huge red eyes set in the chest. These eyes are reported to be glowing, or at least reflective. The details of his face and his feet have never been adequately described. One witness who saw the face clearly could only say that the details were horrible and monstrous. She had terrible nightmares and nearly suffered a nervous breakdown. Anyone who gets close to the Mothman seems to suffer from extreme fear and psychological distress, sometimes lasting for months or years afterwards. In particular, people say that they sense a pure evil overcome them when they see the Mothman's eyes. He can fold his wings and walk in a weird shuffle that many witnesses compared to a penguin. When he flies, he unfolds his wings and shoots straight up with great speed. Todd Howard confirmed that the Mothman is going to be a unique boss fight with different stages, so I think throughout the game of Fallout 76, the Mothman is slowly going to be like stalking you in the forest, looking like this. This right here is going to be the Mothman when he's just in his like penguin state, you know what I mean, where he's just curled up and just standing there, just looking at you wherever you are. So like once in a while you might look in the distance and just see glowing eyes looking at you, and when you get close to it, your character's probably going to feel a little sick, and then all of a sudden he disappears. That's my guess. So it's going to go through different stages, eventually leading up to a full-on boss fight with the Mothman. Also, judging by his face, you can see it kind of has like moth features with the nose and just the, you know, just the antennas it has. You can see it looks like a Mothman, and plus the glowing eyes. This is the only enemy that has the glowing eyes like this after Todd Howard confirmed West Virginia folklore. So this is definitely 100% the Mothman, and it's probably going to reveal itself as the Mothman when it shoots up in the air and spans its wings. The Mothman can be sighted in many places across West Virginia and the surrounding states, but the largest number of sightings happen near the old West Virginia Ordnance Works, an area now known by locals as the TNT area. West Virginia Ordnance Works is an abandoned munitions to the north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, that dates back to World War II. The facility during its operation manufactured ammunition and dynamite. The surrounding area is mostly forest, dotted with numerous grassy clearings and thick concrete domes called igloos. These were used to store barrels of gunpowder. The area is also riddled with abandoned tunnels, most of which have collapsed, been sealed off, or become flooded with water. And right here you can see an image of an igloo in the TNT area that is built thick to prevent the chain explosion from the barreled gunpowder inside. So like these igloos were built pretty thick, so if an explosion did go off, it wouldn't really destroy the surrounding area as bad. So most likely this is where we're going to go to fight the Mothman. But I believe because there's going to be different phases, I think phase 1 is going to start at the Mothman Museum, because as you can see the little creature on top. I think this museum is going to be dedicated to like the Mothman's history, and all of a sudden you're going to start the battle, encounter battle number 1, and then you have to go to different locations to continue the battle. Today, the Mothman is one of the most well-known cryptids in the world, made famous partially by John Keel's book, later adapted into a film, The Mothman Prophecies. The Mothman is also hunted in Mountain Monsters on Destination America. The first recorded Mothman sighting took place on November 12, 1966, near Clendenin, West Virginia. 5 men were in a cemetery preparing a grave for burial when they saw something they couldn't explain. Lifting off from the nearby trees was a brown-winged creature. The men held to the fact that what lifted off beyond the trees was no bird, it was a humanoid. The Mothman was introduced to a wider audience by Gray Barker in 1970, and later popularized by John Keel in the 1975 book The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that there were supernatural events related to the sightings and the connection of the collapse of the Silver Bridge. So what they were stating is that when the Silver Bridge collapsed, people were saying that they sighted the Mothman tampering with the wires of the bridge and ultimately snapped, causing the bridge to collapse. So the Mothman is pretty much a big blame for the collapse of the Silver Bridge.